Hello, Assaf. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Assaf, thank you for coming. I think everybody's going to really enjoy what you have to say. A little secret, Assaf is one of my favorite names in the world. My little brother is named Assaf. And Assaf, you are from Plus 972, which is an incredible creative agency. You guys do so many cool things. We love working with you, collaborating with you guys. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and who Plus 972 is?
Right, so hi everyone. Thank you, Zeev, for having me. My name is Assaf Luxembourg. I am from Israel and I'm part of the team Plus 972, which is the area code for Israel. That's the name. But we're not an Israeli company per se. We're an international creative agency and we do a lot of brand strategy and campaigns, web design and stuff like that for a lot of companies from real estate, luxury, e-commerce, hospitality, and it goes on from there. So thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure. We don't know you guys as an Israeli company. We actually know you guys as a really great creative agency here in the States, and your CEO, Ruben, is a really well-known, really great, incredible creative guy. And you and I got to talk, and we clicked really quickly. And I love your innovative ideas. Now, you guys in Israel are a little bit in front of us with this, social distancing, COVID-19 time and era. But what I wanted to talk to you is about ideas. What can people do right now to really start growing again? Because we all know pipelines take time. We all know we can't wait. Asaf, how do you guys in Plus 972 are moving forward and continue growing?
Right. So first of all, different markets, different places behave a little bit differently. As of today in Israel, we're basically like 1 month ahead of you into the future. We started COVID 1 month before it exploded in the US, and we started returning to normal before you did. So in a way, I speak to many of my American friends. I kind of look back 1 month and then I said, I remember speaking like this. So a lot of empathy from the future, 1 month into the future. Different places that behave differently in Europe, Asia, Americas. So obviously it depends on the place, but generally speaking, in many places we start seeing going back to a normal. It's a new normal. It's the next normal, but it's a new normal. So I will say this. As you know, branding is all about personalizing organizations or products. So if you think of your company, if you're the head of a company or you're in charge of the marketing of a company, and you think of yourself as a person, so which person are you most likely to connect with? The person that says, oh yeah, I'm fine, COVID-19 doesn't affect me, and play poker. Or there's the person that says, everything's bad, everything's horrible, it's not gonna get better, depressive 100% of the time. And there's the person that is honest, decent, says, sure, of course we're affected. Everyone's affected. We're trying to see where the opportunities are. We're trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We'd be happy to hear from you. And I would say that's the person most of us would want to engage with. If you can turn your company to communicate in this way, we think it's the right approach. So I'm not saying companies need to show 24/7 and film and see and talk about how they're coping with COVID, but they can communicate how they're coping and communicate where they're strong and how they see the markets in the future.
I love that. And I'll share with you some of my personal experience. I do a lot of things on social media, especially LinkedIn. I truly, truly love LinkedIn, love my LinkedIn community, and been doing it for a long time. Whenever I open a window to my true self, that's where there is so much more engagement. That's where people want to see, they don't want to see, like you say, a mask. Oh, COVID just makes us better. COVID just makes us richer, right? That's not true. There is good, there is bad in everything. And what we've noticed is when you are honest, when you showcase yourself, good, bad, and sometimes ugly, then people actually engage and follow you. So how do you recommend for companies to put themselves out there in an honest, vulnerable way, but still represent what they're doing and how they can help customers?
Right. So I'm not saying that, let's say, as an analogy, imagine you have a store. I'm not saying you should take photos of the back storage and put it on the front. It's not that. And you don't need to over communicate where you're struggling, just to be honest and transparent in an aggressive way. I will say that you need, it depends on the company. Not every company has people that want to show themselves publicly on social media. That's also fine. So there are many ways to do it. I would say communicating on where your focus is right now, or what you are seeing around you in the marketplace. It doesn't have to be in a formal newsletter. You can be formal in your newsletters and be more friendly on social media. Sometimes asking questions help, not in order to necessarily generate engagement. Many people will read the question, they will not reply, it will not generate the engagement maybe you would have wished for, but they feel more honest and connected to you. So there are many small tactics, but I don't think that it would be right for every company to start communicating on how they're coping. It should be depending on your persona as a company.
So how would you recommend, if a company is not comfortable in really showing challenges, how do we promote our brands right now, so when people are going back to work, they are going to think about us and what the things that we can help them with?
So it's a good question. And of course, God is in the details in terms of, it depends on the specifics of every company. There's no one general advice that fits all, but I will say that even in industries where it's not so common to be over communicative and to be more transparent, say, for example, in the high-tech world, it's very common to be very transparent. But if you're doing luxury real estate as a brand, not always you want to over communicate and talk about how you're recovering from COVID. So even if you're in such an industry, my intuition is to say something like, although it is not so common in our industry to talk about X, Y, and Z, we understand that many of us and our competition are going through things. We hope the market will be yada, yada. Say something that generates a sense of we're together in this.
So I love that. This
industry, in real estate, in many other industries, you don't need to change the culture of your industry, but you need to find a way to humanize your brand in front of your customers.
And how do you do that? So if let's say I own a luxury real estate brand right now, how do I humanize my brand in front of other people? How can you give some tips on how would you do that? And of course, branding is a big thing and we need to think about it, but a few tips on how to think of your brand in a humanized way.
Sure. So I'm going to say something general, and then I'll add an example from us, from Plus 972. A very, very wise man once taught me that a brand is a promise, and a strong brand is a promise always delivered.
Let's say that again, because that's awesome. So a brand is a promise.
I want to give the credit to our friend. He's a Plus 972 dear friend, Ido Aharoni. So,
Ido, that's great. So let's repeat it. So a brand is a promise, and a good brand is a promise that always keeps up on its word.
Yes. So just to understand, as an example, Coca-Cola delivers a certain promise to you, and it's always delivered, whether it's hot outside, cold outside, whatever. And their promise is, that's the brand.
Their promise is happiness.
In a way. So I'm not even putting words into that sound. But what I'm trying to say is this. So a brand is a promise, and a strong brand is a promise always delivered. Now, in times like now, there could be other ways to deliver that promise. I'm not saying that you should change your promise as a brand, but you need to give the right context for the here and now. So I'll give you an example. In some companies, you would have a CEO or a leader that is very communicative and is out there as a personal brand, together or in separate with a company brand. And we all know great examples for that. But in many companies, that is maybe not the right move. However, there are ways to humanize the brand. For example, one of the things we did is, many companies started COVID-19 policies. We give certain discounts, or we're willing to help our customers in this or that way. We started a certain non-profit campaign, which people can see on our website. It's still up, and it's focused on COVID-19 recovery, not COVID-19 response, to help businesses get back on track. Now, we could have done it in a way that is unified with our branding and with our messaging and the way we want to communicate, but we chose to do it in a much more friendly way, where we show more of the faces, where we show the partners involved. So without affecting the brand that we hold as Plus 972, we were able to do something different with a sub-brand, a campaign we started to help businesses get back on track. So initially, the logo is not with the right colors. Initially, we didn't invest too much in the design, although this is our bread and butter. So these are ways you can break up from the usual things you do, and it's sort of a divide and control sort of thing.
So let me share with you a few things. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Assaf.
No, sorry. So every company can do things like that without changing the way things work and should work.
So you're saying companies should feel a lot freer to be flexible right now. You don't have to, stay to rigid lines. Like, people understand. You and I right now, in normal days, I wear a suit to work. I see all the things hanging behind you and all the events and all the things, and I know you do speaking. So in normal days, we act differently. But today, it is quite all right to have a T-shirt, Zoom conference. I was at a conference yesterday with some of the top people in American industry, and they were all casual. They were unshaved, people understand now that you don't have to be this strict as we're going through a lot of things. One more thing that we see is incredible increase in social media and in SEO. So we're not out there. We're in front of our computers every day. There's so many more ways to get in front of people on platform like this one, like LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, SEO, search. There's so many more ways that you can get in front of people. And we see that working so much more now than it did before COVID.
Right. And to add to that, first of all, I think we all agree, as many experts like Scott Galloway and others say all the time, COVID is not a change maker, it's an accelerant. So things that were supposed to happen anyhow are happening faster. And going digital and digital transformation is one of them. One of the things that maybe we could add, and also I could add personally, in terms of humanizing your brand, we need to remember that at the end of the day, on the other side of this thing here, there is a person. And many times we have this idea that in the real world, we behave in one way, but on digital, it's different. Maybe it's debatable, but from my point of view, the more you behave like a human on social media, even if it's not your company page on LinkedIn, it's the employees themselves. The more you do that, the better you will thrive in today's environment, because in the future, we will all be more human on digital. But right now, a lot of people think that they can be human bots on social media. And the more you are human in an environment where other humans try to be better bots than bots, you will succeed. And maybe I'll give a really practical example, because you mentioned LinkedIn, I don't know, a few times. LinkedIn is the love of my life. I don't have a personal Facebook account.
I know your wife is at home, so be careful, my friend.
Yeah, so I don't have a personal Facebook profile. I built my personal business on LinkedIn, regardless of Plus 972, which I'm a part of. So I'll share something from the daily ins and outs, pipelines of social media. Many of the people who may watch this right now, they want to connect to a lot of other people. So what do? They hit connect and they send a connection request. And they get a lot of connection requests, which they sometimes approve or not approve. Now, here's the equivalent. Imagine you go into a real conference and a random person comes into you doing this, not saying a word.
Happened to me many times, not effective.
And stays in there, by the way, stays in there in an awkward way, waiting for you to take the card. And then you see that person is doing this. Just handing cards to people and then walk away. You would stand with your friends and say, who the hell was he? So in an environment where people send empty connection requests, which is the equivalent to give a business card without speaking, the more you use the personal note to connect to people and say something that is real. Hi, we haven't met, but I saw we both know this person, or you're in that industry. I have a question. I wanted to ask something. I'll be happy to talk to you about whatever. That person will go into their mailbox. They'll see 55 new connection requests from people they don't know, and yours with a personal message. That's a way to stand out.
Let me add to that. And
strategy, but it's the little things that really matter.
Let me add to that, because you and I are a LinkedIn relationship. So I'll share with our audience that suddenly I saw this cool marketing company engaging with my LinkedIn posts. And that is actually how we met. So like you said, instead of sending a connection, if you see somebody you want to be connected with, engage with their stuff. We're all humans, all of us. None of us, if somebody likes and makes a nice comment on something that you put your hard work on, you are going to like that person immediately. So
right. And I didn't know you were going to bring this up, but since you did, just to mention, it's not that you saw Assaf from Plus 972 liking your post and commenting. You saw the company page doing that, and you're like, hey, because you're you're used to see faces. Suddenly you see a logo. It's a way to humanize the brand.
100%. And I went immediately and checked it. And then I've connected with Ruben, connected with you. Then we've had a lot of conversation. We're actually doing a bunch of stuff together now. And it was all because you humanized your brand. You came up to my posts, and basically people might think we're competition, but you praised what we were doing, and now we're doing business together. So instead of just, like you said, sending empty connections, engage. Do what you would like others to do with you.
How would you like to be approached on LinkedIn? That's how you should approach others.
Love that. And Assaf, this was great. We should do this again. One of the things that I would like to really do is maybe have you write some tips of how you have built such a great LinkedIn community. And maybe we can do that over a next video next time that we connect. Can you tell us just in a couple of words how people can reach you and Plus 972? And of course, we'll leave that on the post, but how can people reach out to you?
Right. So Plus 972, we're out there. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, you're more than happy to come and follow us and look at our work. We're a creative agency. If people want to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to do it. I highly advise doing it with a personal note on the connection request.
Just as a closing, I get probably about 150 requests per day. Maybe 15% of them have a personal note. And always I will check them first.
Your eyes immediately go to the ones with the note because it's interesting.
Of course. Yeah, if it's not without a note, think about this, guys. If all you want to do is all the time you have for me is just clicking half a second and all right, I'm done, then you don't want to connect with me that much. But if you're going to spend a few minutes giving me some kind of a message so I know what the heck you would like to do together, even if it's just a compliment. People like compliments, guys. If you write an Assaf, loved all the things you do on LinkedIn. I think you're brilliant. We should connect. What are you going to say to that? No?
And I would add to that, remember, LinkedIn is a digital conference. Engage with people the same way you would approach them at the bar in the conference. And since you brought it up again, I'll just maybe add to that. Listen, in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, at some point, culture will adapt these tools, and then we will all be human on LinkedIn. Use the time right now that we're still not there for your advantage. That's the entrepreneurial approach here. So sending personal connection requests with a personal note will be the common thing 10 years from now. Now it's not. So now it's more effective to do it.
It's going to be done with voice. So the way things are going, it's all going to be done with voice, video. So things are growing. I'm going to thank you so much, Assaf, for spending your time with us. I know you're very busy. I always love conversing with you. I love what Plus 972 does. Go ahead, sir.
And I'm going to use the opportunity to say, if you are business owners or you work in a business and you have, I don't know, certain struggles or deliberations when it comes to reviving the business and going back to normal and returning to growth, hit plus972.com. Scroll down, there's like a purple thingy in the bottom that says Plus 972 Cares. It's a pro bono, fully free campaign where we and other experts that we gathered are putting our time to help entrepreneurs and businesses return to growth. If that is helpful for you, we are there to help.
Lovely. So everybody go on plus972.com and check out this purple link to help everybody. Orange, sorry. I love the color purple. Orange link. Orange is more clickable. So guys,
Plus 972 Cares.
972, Plus 972 Cares. Assaf, thank you so much. We're going to see each other very, very soon. And guys, I hope you really enjoyed Assaf's comments and advice. And please reach out to Assaf and connect with him on LinkedIn. See you guys.
Thank you very much. Keep up the good work.